saw Stanley Nevin at the bank today. He said that he changed the name of his. He changed into a trust kind of midway through.
Yep.
So he's got to print out all new plats and have them re-stamped just because.
And we have to go back to our notes when we has to go back to the name.
Really?
Yep. Because of the name change. Yeah. But it'll just
It's 5 o'clock. Time to start our study session. Summer, please call the roll.
Commissioner Patterson?
Here.
Commissioner Norwood?
Here.
Commissioner Baker?
Here.
Commissioner Roberts?
Here.
Commissioner Stallings is not present. Commissioner Orr?
Here.
And Mayor Mason.
Here.
Quorum.
Item number 2 at the Commissioner's request, discuss any item of concern on the regular session agenda. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about that's coming up tonight? Okay. Item number 3.1, discussion on the financial disclosure and stewardship responsibility ordinance. Carol?
Okay, well, this is an ordinance that my suggestion is that we consider next session, because if not, you guys are going to all have to file your disclosure statements with the Ethics Commission, and I have tailored our, well, actually, Summer helped. Summer did the financial closure, and I tweaked it a bit, the form, and I have tailored the financial disclosure so that it is more for a commission that does not have pay, and it still has everything, but I think it is a little bit of overreach on the state's part to be requiring you all to file the same kind of report at the Ethics Commission and go through all their rules for a position that isn't paid and that is part-time. So, you know, the same ones that the governor and the attorney general have to do. So, it's pretty easy. Summer and I discussed it, and we thought doing it at the end of May was good for the people that are coming on. And does anyone have any questions? Okay. Now, it may be, I will say, that they have what, there is a bill that is being considered that would force us all to have you all do the ethics filings with the Ethics Commission, but it hasn't passed yet. And, but let's hope that we can keep it with Summer, and that Summer can keep the records and things. Okay?
Okay. Item 3.2, update on the city beautification efforts.
It's just...
Yeah, they're new mics. I had trouble. I don't mind telling you.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, city managers and commissioners and everyone else. My name is Brenda Gaspar. I have taken over the beautification project. And so I'll go over an update of what's been done. So to achieve that beautification objective, we follow the following tasks: removal of signs and trash, educate property owners of the initiative of the project, provide notices of ordinances, initiate special cases, tree removal, grass, and sign reface. From January 16th, I have removed 108 signs from the right-of-way and corridors. These are unclaimed signs. We do work with solid waste to remove trash and debris from the right-of-ways. Okay, this is a small project on North Oakwood. The area was mowed and cleaned. These are before and after pictures of a project at a railroad crossing. On the left are before and after pictures of the west side of Cleveland, and on the right are of the east side. The following slides will be of the east and west side of West O&K Garriott. Here, the grass was removed from the concrete areas on the exit ramp. Grass was mowed on the corner area. The underpass was mowed and the grass was removed from the concrete areas.
It's nice.
This property was cleaned and mowed. On this project, the grass was removed from the concrete areas. Having the grass removed from the concrete areas made the right-of-way look a lot better. More of that same project. This is a vacant lot on South Van Buren. This property was mowed. These properties.
Is that a lot that we own, or?
No, this is a property owned, another resident owned this.
Is that out by Meadow Lake Hospital? That's always been such an eyesore.
Yeah,
So it looks so much better.
Yeah.
yes. This, we did send out notice, and the owner mowed the property. So they did comply. These are pictures of East Randolph, where the right-of-ways were mowed. Here's more edging on the right-of-ways. Okay, so this is North Grand. This is an aerial view. This is a previous case that was presented to you by Tiffany. Here are the before pictures. And here is the after. All the cars have been removed from this lot. Okay, and then sign reface. The following slides are of sign reface cases that have been brought up to compliance along the corridors. So this sign is on Van Buren. A lot of you may notice where this is located. This one is on North Grand.
Brenda, you might tell them the violation, too. The violation is there's no sign in the sign frame. So they have to at least put up a blank, right?
Yes, they have to put white message board. So in the previous picture, it's just there's nothing, and in the second one, there is white message board. Same with the next one. Tree removals, like explained in the beginning, we do tree removals. It is included in beautification. In this period, we did remove one tree. This tree was on West Randolph. It's right here. This is where it used to be. So. From November 19th to February 28th, we have spent $3,410. Our starting balance on July 1st, 2024 was $50,000, and we have a remaining balance of $19,185. On the right is a breakdown of the expenses. It does total out to $30,815. Do we have any questions?
How do you come up with your projects? Like, how do you decide what needs to be done?
I will inspect the corridors, and if anything is out of compliance, I will reach out to the property or business owners to let them know that the areas need to be, what needs to be brought up to compliance.
So it's just code enforcement being out and noticing
Yes.
something.
Well, there's two different things, Commissioner. This particular beautification came about really at the request of Commissioner Orr and Commissioner Saragusa, talking about cleaning up our corridors, meaning the highways, Van Buren, Garriott, also Oakwood, Willow, Randolph, and so those are the corridors. We've got a map. We probably need to go back to putting that in every version of this.
Okay.
So that's our specific effort here. Regular code enforcement works really a couple different ways. One is it's complaint-driven, if there's a complaint, and then also the other way is if we're out in an area and we see something, or if we are targeting's not a good word, if we are selecting an area for focus. I will tell you one of the things that we do now that I really like is when people do call in complaints, we also want to check their property, because if you're going to complain about your neighbor, your stuff should be in good shape too. So we think that's a good technique to be fair. And so just so the public watching, please turn in your complaints. Make sure your stuff is good too, because Brenda or Tiffany or somebody, Paul, is going to take a look. And we think that's only fair. So, but that's, Scott, Tiffany, you got more on how do we, why don't you guys tell them how many inspectors we have and what they focus on? And
Yep.
it's good, because we have plenty of time.
Ouch. So we have 4 property inspectors right now. What we've done is we've got them off into different sections. We've got one for the west side, one for kind of the middle area, one for the east side. And then Brenda kind of works our special cases, our beautification. And that's why she's presenting today, is because she's stepping into that role from where Tiffany is left off. So we have those 4 inspectors, and what they do are, you're going to go out and look at complaints, right? But as you're driving to that complaint, you're going to say, oh, look at that. That's a violation. We need to start a case on that. So, and that's kind of what you're asking, right, Gerald, in that sense?
Yeah, just kind of orient them too, so that they get the full picture of, 4 people are constantly, every day, this is their
Correct.
Their job.
So Brenda's technique, so each of them kind of have a different technique on how they approach their area. Brenda you do your color coordinated, correct?
Yes.
You want to kind of explain that? That might help? Or is that? Okay. So, I'm sorry, I put you on the spot. So, like, Brenda has a color coordination, so she will say, okay, this is the time I'm working this area, and once that area is done, she'll move on to the next color coordinated area. Some people will do it by like on the east side where we have number streets versus name streets. They'll run that way. You'll kind of work in one area and then work up to another and kind of continue that way. So there's different ways to work it, and sometimes it'll take, especially during high grass and weeds, it'll take, I'm not going to give a timeline just because we are as quick as we can be on this, but it may take a little bit more time to get back to a property to get to make sure that complaint was taken care of. So as we're working them, that's part of it. Like I said, from 10th Street to Van Buren is kind of, those are the 2 dividing lines for us. So as we get complaints from See Click Fix, they go out and inspect those. They investigate any complaint that comes in. We'll go out and we'll look at it. What happens a lot of times is sometimes it'll be like, well, it's not a violation. It doesn't look good because nobody likes multicolored houses, but it's painted, and we don't do paint colors. We just need to make sure that the house is protected. So sometimes we run into those complaints, and then when we get to the property, it's like, oh, well, the house is painted different colors. We don't like that, but we have trash and debris that we actually have a violation that we can work from our International Property Maintenance Code, which is the 2015 that we're running off of, and then our ordinances. One of the other things we've got, I might be diving too deep, so if I am, I might be rattling. So one of the things too is we have, Brenda, you've been property inspector for what? What are we looking at? 3 years now. We have one that has been with us for about 1.5 years. We have one that has been with us for about 1 year. He just passed his property maintenance, what is that? Code enforcement. He got his first code enforcement certificate Friday, so he just passed his class. Once you start property inspection, you have 1 year to get to that class and get it passed. And then our third one, he started, what?
He's about 3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months ago, showing a lot of potential. He is going out and he is doing, and he hasn't even been to class yet. So we are hoping to send him class. What are we looking at? August is the next available class we'll send him to. So that's kind of where we're at in the property inspection. So
You got one more, too. Through the power of deduction, the team has figured out my route to work and home.
yes, we do have places that we get high complaints from individuals that we know to keep on our radar. And that's kind of the beautification too, is everybody sees that, and we want Enid to look good. And so we do try to stay on top of that, and that's what Brenda's job is, to make sure. That's why we'll go out, and you can't force someone to edge the sidewalk or force someone to edge the curb, because it's not anywhere in our codes or anything like that. Please do it. But that's one of the things that we're trying to get prettied up. And then we'll send letters to them saying, hey, we did it. Would you please continue an effort? This is a community effort to make us all look better.
Okay, Scott, two things. The first one, and thank you so much about house colors, because there's a house on Garriott that's half yellow and half black. And every time we drive by that, my wife twists at me. She says, can't they do something about that? And I can go home and tell her, no. Live with it. Okay. The second
Tell her
part.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Not your fault.
You can volunteer to go paint it.
No. It doesn't bother me that much. With the budget for the beautification that Commissioner Orr and Keith pushed for, and well done, it looks great. Is that an additional level of budgeting that needs to continue? So we need to just kind of vote on moving that, because I like what you've done. It's fabulous. Okay.
Yep.
We'll include that in the budget. Our initial amount was 100,000, and we didn't spend all that, and so 50 looks like that might be a good amount for the year. We've been through a busy mowing season, now we've been through the winter, so this is probably the easy part of the year for mowing grass and weeds.
Okay.
It's getting ready to pick up.
Yeah,
'Cause the weeds are definitely
and that's
growing.
what the remainder is most likely what that's going to be going towards, with obviously the rains that are coming right now, and I just have a feeling we've got a wet year this year, so we'll have a very high grass and weed season. So.
Well, I echo what Frank said. Thank you, because those little things make a huge
They
difference.
really do. Yeah, it looks great.
Why don't you tell us a little bit too, since again, we got plenty of time. And,
I can talk.
You might want to weigh in on this, because it's probably interesting for the commissioners and the public to know, when you see a violation that you know is a violation, what's your next steps? How do you process that? How do you communicate with the customer or the resident? And how do we work to get compliance?
So, and you're saying once we receive a complaint or we visually see one?
Either way, yes.
Okay.
Either way.
Tiffany, you might be better. I'm going to let her, because she's worked through the process a lot more.
I tried to hand this off to Brenda. No, normally when we go by and we see any violation, normally we try to get every violation possible on the property. That way we're not going and taking care of one and then having to come back, and then people feel like we're picking on them. But once we see a violation, we take pictures, of course, and come back to the office and find out who owns the property, and depending on what kind of violation it is, we send it to either the tenant or the property owner and let them know they need to have this done in a certain amount of time. And then after that, we come back and we have a note that tells us when we need to go back and try to get back as fast as possible. And then once we call it a reinspection, we go re-inspect the property. They either complete it or, brought it into compliance, or we have to do something about it. Sometimes it's a fine, sometimes we go in and we mow and clean the property, so.
Yes, and I think we use a software system,
We use Citizen Serve.
Citizen Serve, so
Yeah.
we keep track of those pictures. So I know some of you, when you call me about particularly tough cases and I reach out, we'll always know if it's a long-term problem, we're going to have a record of it anyway.
Yes.
And
We
what we
usually have
did
a-
or what stage we're at. And
We usually have a case open. We go by case. Each property has a case, and it may have multiple violations, or it may just have one. It may just need to mow your grass, or you may need to mow your grass and, paint your house or fix your roof or whatever it needs to be, so, yeah.
I will add that C-Click Fix and Citizen Serve are two different systems. So we do get a lot of residents reporting on C-Click Fix, and then, that we start our cases on Citizen Serve. So when the cases get closed on C-Click Fix, it is only a reporting system.
What happens when there's a situation where a resident just totally refuse to comply?
So, a couple different options on there. Obviously, we've already tried everything we can to convince them this needs to be done, we need to do this. We have two different routes depending on what the situation is. High grass and weeds, we usually do abatement, which means we go and we mow it for them. And then the lien, like we talked about last time I presented with a dilapidation, we put a lien on the property, kind of the same process. If we, open storage is another one that we send contractors and we take, unfortunately, we have to take their property because it is trash. But there are some cases that we've run into that it's a hard abatement process. What the violation isn't something that we can just send contractors to fix. So we try to run through the court systems. So we issue complaints is usually what we do. It would be the same. It's equated to a citation pretty much. So they can either pay the fine or come talk to a judge, are the options at that point. We if we continue to get enough citations, then there is a case that we're currently discussing that we have done everything we can. We just have to figure out, we've got to fix a problem. Here's the problem. We've identified it. How do we fix it? And how do we send contractors? How do we tell contractors to fix that problem? So that's where it comes in, and we have to take it to that greater step of, here we are, we've got to do this, and then once it's done, we'll put the lien on the property if they're not willing to pay within the time required.
What if it's not that they're not willing, but they're just unable? They're elderly, disabled. Is there a program where we can help them?
We do have a couple of people we can reach out to.
Give them numbers. There's numbers if they can get like CDSA and
That's what
things like that, that we also offer them, and then if they can get the help.
Yeah.
So we have several numbers, Habitat for Humanity and things like that we try to offer, and churches that help.
Right.
Perfect.
And at the end of the day, actually, the best thing for them might be we remediate it. I realize that costs money. They're probably not going to pay it anyway, so it's going to be put on their property. They'll never pay it. So until that house transfers in the future, that's the time that those property taxes, if you will, may be collected. We are being more aggressive now on some hard cases, just going straight to abatement. You guys will remember the infamous pot farm. That was a case that no other method worked.
Yeah.
So we finally signed off on the abatement and took matters in our own hands, and I think we had a 99% approval rating. The only person that didn't like it was the owner, and I don't think we've ever heard from him again, so.
Well, Scott, we talked about this a little bit when we were both working on Spam-A-Lot this past summer, but what is there about the whole process, because I don't think it's you guys, this has been since when I was on City Commission back in the 90s, where it's automatically the person you're talking to for the code violation either thinks they're being targeted, victimized, or persecuted? It seems like that is still such a recurring reaction to something that should be more just cut and dried.
It is, and a lot of it is, and I've noticed just since I've done property inspection, code enforcement, and all that stuff, you're hitting somebody with something they value. Or they can't do, or they feel, so it's kind of a pride issue is what we run into. And so we tried, the letters that we send out, the initial step is giving them the full information, which is sometimes, it is, abrupt is a good word. It's a lot of information, and it can come across as mean. You guys have seen me. I've talked to you guys in the halls. Anybody that calls us, they know we're going to work with whoever we can work with. If we can find a resolution, we're going to get there without being the bad guy. Unfortunately, sometimes it is a nature of the beast that we do have to move forward. But like Gerald said, there are times, sometimes it's best if somebody can't mow their lawn, that we do it, and then we put that money on a lien towards the house. It keeps them from living in high grass and weeds. It keeps from living in open storage or trash and debris, which creates other issues. Yes, a lot of times we end up getting these phone calls of, well, you're targeting me. You're why are you coming after me? And I have many a times told everybody, we are fair. We have to be firm and fair. It doesn't matter what's going on. If you're going to hit a pile of trash and debris on this street and it's right there, and you ignore the one across the street, we're going to have a discussion, because we have to hit everybody fairly. And so a lot of times what other people don't see is the other person picked up the phone, called us and said, hey, I've got this situation going on. Can I get an extra 30 days? 30 days is fine. We can do 30 days, depending on the issue, mind you. So that's the whole, and that's what I try to get across. Anytime I talk to people, hey, listen, just call us. If you have any issues, call us, talk to us. Now, unfortunately, yes, we have to get a resolution, but please talk to us and we can get there together. Is that?
I think so.
Okay.
Say someone wants to file a complaint but is worried about retaliation. Are the complaints anonymous?
I don't know who anybody is. I actually had somebody call me and be like, well, I want to know who complained on me. My stance on that is always, it doesn't matter who complains. We then, as a city, become the complaining party, because we are the ones that have actually, we have gone out, we have seen the violation, we know of the violation, so therefore we are the complaining parties. We are the one making the complaint. No, we have never, we don't tell, I'm not into that whole, don't rat out your neighbors. Excuse me, let me rephrase. I'm not going to rat somebody out for telling me there's an issue that needs to be addressed. And everybody in my office understands that.
But the truth is, neighbors report on neighbors. So
yes,
neighbors probably know who reported them. That's why I think it's important for us, too, to be fair. Absolutely, we're going to check on that violation. What's your address? We're going to check on you, too, because really, it doesn't mean that part of the issue, Commissioner Baker, too, is people are quick and easy to see other people's flaws and sometimes blind to their own. And sometimes even shocked to think that, well, this is a violation what I have myself, because they're fixated on their neighbors. So that's part of why we kind of follow that philosophy too. But no, if we don't tell people, it's not good business to tell them, well, Mr. Patterson complained about your house, so you can take it up. No, we don't do that. But if you live next to Commissioner Patterson, you probably figure out who's going to complain. So.
My husband used to say, you guys are an equal opportunity offender.
Yes.
that is accurate. I like that.
Yeah, I asked my question because there's a couple of locations that have been in the condition that they're in, about the last 3 years or so. And like the mayor has said in our last council meeting, it's not fair to the individuals that live on each side of them. They keep their properties groomed and manicured and well taken care of because it devalues the property. And you know what? It kills morale when you have to have a little miniature landfill. You go talk to them or whatever. But I was just curious what the process is. And, you know, I know we may have limitations, but some of these people just don't care, you know, and their trash is their treasure. But it's not fair to everyone else in the neighborhood.
Correct. High grass and weeds might be a good example. We drive by and the high grass and weeds is at 10 inches. It's not violation yet. We can't send contractors at that level because it's not a violation, and anything would be against our ordinance and against state statute. Once it gets to
What is, you're going to tell us the standard?
yeah, the standard is 12 inches. So
Which might happen the next day. When
correct.
It's growing.
And so,
time, but
but we can't post it until it's 12. And then the question is, well, what if I've got one weed that's sticking up 12 inches? We're not to that point. We try to get a good level of 12 inches. And like you said, though, but it's not fair for the neighbors. So this process is once we go and we send in a violation and they don't take care of it, and then we go and abate it. Within 6 months, correct?
Yes.
From that first abatement, within 6 months, we can send contractors out without sending notice to the owner. So, but there again, it has to be at that 12-inch mark.
Yeah, Scott.
So does that kind of?
I'm not referring to tall grass or anything like that. I'm talking about appliances, and metal, and old vans, and trucks, and just trash.
You're saying these ones that we have started getting cleaned up, and then they as soon as we, okay, you're getting there, it starts accumulating more, or it just continues to accumulate and accumulate?
I mean, one of them, we even had the EPA called in on it, and they couldn't do anything about it. I mean, this is just ridiculous. It's trash. It's terrible, and it's overdue.
Okay.
You know, and it's dangerous. Refrigerators and stoves and stuff, a kid could get caught up in one of those and, you know, a loss of life. It's really bad, and we need to get it fixed.
Okay.
I'm tired of looking at it.
Commissioner, if there's any specific addresses that you have, you can share those with Gerald, and we can take a look at them for sure.
And this one you might have shared with me, and I might have shared with you already. I don't know where.
I'm pretty sure I'm aware of
3
what
of
he
them I
is.
haven't, but we'll get together.
Okay.
We'll get together.
Other questions?
Just quickly too, while beautification, the 3 demos, 2 of them are being worked as demos, I think, and they've been posted. And
Correct.
then one of them's, we don't think meets the standards for demo right now.
It'll be minimum housing.
Okay.
They will have that time frame to work minimum housing to try to bring it into compliance. 2 of them will be heard March 11th. March 11th will be the hearing on those. So.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
I just wanted to add, I think, can we continue to concentrate on Van Buren between the overpass and O and K? That is still a mess in there. There's a bunch of broken concrete on the curbs. There's grass and weeds in the cracks. There are signs. And there's a gas station, I think it's on just south of
Yes.
Randolph on the west side. It's got a gas pump laying in a parking lot. It's like, I don't know if somebody tore it down or if the contractors did that and left it laying there, or.
From what I saw when I went out and looked at that, good Lord, when we go out.
It's on the west.
It's been a while. Anyways, it's been a while. It was actually capped off. It was the strangest thing. I thought it had just been knocked over, but it has been capped off.
Yeah.
We sent notice to the owner, and then probably haven't heard a response, and so it's probably time to follow up on that particular one.
It just seems like a high concentrated area of eyesores that we could,
Correct.
that we can start looking at and getting that cleaned up a little bit.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Any other questions, comments? Well,
Thank you.
Scott and Brittany and Brenda, Tiffany and Brenda, thank y'all very much for what you're doing. We got to see this program from the start. I think it's one of the best programs that we've started. Seems like we get a very good ROI on that, and I think it is helping. And I love the before and after pictures. So that helps me also to identify where some of that's at. So thank you very much. Keep up the good work. We like that. We think that's a good $50,000 that we spend.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. That is a good program. Yeah.
Keep that going.
3.3, Jason, a brief project update from engineering.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I'm glad to be here tonight. Glad to fill in whenever I need to be. Not waste some of your time. I'm going to share some good information with you, but
It's always good.
It's only going to take 20 minutes.
it's only going to take 20. I hope so. Some project updates that I want to talk to you about are the US 81 construction, which is north of the overpass. And then I want to talk briefly about 66th Street reconstruction out east of town. And then also Cleveland, the Railroad to Willow, that widening project that's going on right now. And then obviously any other project that you guys want to talk about. But as for US 81, I got an update last week from ODOT, and so the information I'm going to share with you is straight from ODOT. The concrete work that was taking place, any kind of new concrete work, it's all been completed, and that included the ditch lining and then some patchwork that was up along the roads, which leaves the backfilling in the center median, sod, diamond grinding, saw and sealing, and then miscellaneous traffic items. I asked him what the miscellaneous traffic items were, and that traffic striping of signs and things of that nature. Currently, the schedule is for mid-March is when the diamond grinding machine is going to be in town. It's going to take about 3 to 4 weeks for that to take place. After that, the joints will be sawed and sealed, and that's that's exactly what that is they actually take a saw in there and clean the joints out with the saw, then they reseal them to protect the subgrade. And ODOT's hopes to be substantially completed and striping at the beginning of May. So kind of from that, I would just kind of guess that overall completion would be sometime in June. I think the intent probably when they start striping, that's probably when they'll start picking up their traffic cones and traffic control devices. I asked, kind of what the holdup was, why things were taking longer, and he mentioned that the recent kind of cold snaps that we've had delayed other projects where the diamond grinder was. I guess there's only so many of those in the state, and so that's been the holdup of getting that machine to Enid to complete the work. That's the update that I have on 81. If you have any questions about it specifically, I'd be happy to answer those.
Where they poured that concrete down in the medians, they're going to come back and sod in between that?
Exactly.
I'm assuming?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
Sure looks good.
And that was, you'd asked me a question, Commissioner, and I thought that was a pretty good update. Do you have any other follow-ups on that?
Well, just with that, and then also Cleveland, I am all for road construction and getting things to where they need to be. It was brought to my attention by a business owner off of Willow that with the limited road on 81 plus Cleveland's closure, they lost about $20,000 in revenue in the month of February. So I didn't know if there's something that we could do to encourage people to take the detours or to take 81 even, because it is open. It's just down to one lane on each side. Because we don't want to forget about those businesses either. So that's what brought that up.
Yeah, I think personally, encouraging patience, I think is what I've always tried to, when I talk to people, friends and family, like, golly, when they're going to be done with that, well, understand it'll be nice in the end. But yeah.
In the meantime, let people know there are detours and ways around. It may take a few more minutes.
I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. I can reiterate those. Yeah.
That's not just that's for everybody.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we can put something together. Okay, out on 66th Street, that project has kind of finally come to a good closure. Right now, it is currently closed. We had to do a couple panel replacements. A couple of new panels were cracked, and so we're getting those replaced, part of the project. After they get those done, they get a little bit of gravel to add to the shoulders in a few locations at a couple of driveways, and then clean up. And right now, they're expecting to have the roadway open on Monday. And so I'll be doing, me and inspectors and the engineer on the project will be doing the final walkthrough on that sometime early next week. The last project that I got on my list is the Cleveland widening project between Railroad and the Willow. Right now, obviously, the road is closed, and that's primarily for the railroad crossing construction work that's going on right now. And that work's going to include widening that railroad crossing out to the 4 lanes. And then also there's some pipe work that's going to be taking place for drainage. And then all new signal arms and mast arms are going to be installed at that crossing. The pavement, basically from the railroad all the way up to the south side of the Jumbo's complex. I can't never think of that property's name, but where Jumbo's is, basically to the back side of Jumbo's there, all the pavement has been removed, and they've been working on the dirt work and grading for the drainage and overall project of, overall part of that drainage. The road closed on February 13th, and it was going to be, the plan is for have it closed for approximately 90 days. In kind of some conversations with the contractor, their intent is to have it closed in those 90 days. Obviously, the railroad is supposed to be, is kind of the hinge pin of what that is. But once the railroad gets done, that's when they'll be able to start moving from the south to the north. And they'll start paving and doing the work from the south side going north. Their intent is to kind of work it in a way that once they get to the South Hunters Hills entrance, they'll open that section of roadway up so that it'll allow traffic into that south side of that neighborhood. And then they'll be continuing working north. The plan is for it to be closed for 90 days. And some of the conversations that I've had, kind of with the weather and some of the delays with the railroad, it might go a little bit longer. But some of the conversations I had basically kind of has been, if it goes longer, then it's one closure. Is kind of the conversations I've had with them, so that we're not closing it now and then hurriedly reopening it and then closing it a couple months later for that. If I could, if the closure is extended 30 days or 60 days, whatever it may be, I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it is, but if I can get it done, if I can get it all done in one closure, then the roadway be then the roadway would be open to through traffic for the remainder of the project.
Is the railroad out there working on that?
They have been, yes. I know this past week prior, they were not, and so we've been working on figuring out why they had left and didn't come back. But as I know, they were here, they were back this week.
Okay.
Just a little bit of work that's been taking place also as we've done some things up at the Jumbo's property to allow them to have some better access with their incoming delivery trucks and things of that nature. And that work is supposed to be completed this week, so that'll help them out. Well, not just Jumbo's, it's that entire center there. So.
What are the questions?
Jason, off the top of your head, do you have any updates on that Prairie View sidewalk between Oakwood and the school?
Yeah, we had a meeting yesterday with the designer, and we're wrapping up kind of some of the planning stages, of how the work's actually going to take place before it goes to ODOT. But right now, it's planned to go to ODOT, and it would be released for bids in June. Is kind of the timetable. It takes about 60 to 90 days for review for ODOT, and then so it'd be let in June. And obviously, we want as much work to happen inside of the summer time for the schools. But so that is kind of makes that window pretty tight,
Right.
being let in June. So obviously be let in June. Hopefully construction would be sometime July, August timeframe. So,
Thanks.
yep. Excited for that project. That's a cool project.
You got another 10 minutes?
I can share some stories with you. I got a 3 and a 7-year-old who I got stories all day long for you. Okay. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you. All right, Commissioner Patterson, I think you said something about doing some tap dances when I was on the phone the
I
other day.
forgot the tap shoes.
Okay. Well, that being said, we knew because we had to take one item off the study session tonight that we'd be a little short, and that's okay. So we're going to break right here, and we'll pick back up at 6:30. We are adjourned.